If we didn't have Section 35, then it's really just for us going back to pre-1982 and what it was like to be a litigator or working for Aboriginal peoples. And I think it's pretty clear to all of us that pre-1982, in the absence of Section 35, Aboriginal and treaty rights would still be being walked all over by the majority. And that's what it really is no recognition of Aboriginal rights by the majority elected politicians, by policies, or by laws. And so, for example, in one provincial legislature can enact a wildlife act that completely obliterates any Aboriginal or treaty rights that may be ancient treaty rights. They may be treaty rights that have been in place for 200 years, but they thought that their legislation overruled it, and that's the way it was treated in law. So we would still be there. We would be, I think Aboriginal peoples would be in a much, much poorer place, and that is truly why they fought so hard to have their rights included in the Constitution, and they did fight. And they weren't alone. There were church groups, and there were all kinds of people creating papers, and there was a real push to get Aboriginal and treaty rights included in the Constitution when the 1982, or the discussions that led up to 1982 were taking place. The Charter was something that everybody seemed to want, so it wasn't as if there was a backlash against it. But the Section 35 rights, and in fact at one point they got traded right out. Trudeau, who was the Prime Minister at the time, actually put them to the side at one point and said, oh, there wasn't enough there wasn't enough consensus from the provinces to put them in, and there had to be a lot of pressure put back on them to bring the clause back into the Constitution. But nevertheless, if you go back and read Hansard as people in the House, both the House of Commons and the Senate are talking about it. They talk about it as a real turning point, that this is a chance to redress what one of the senators called old and difficult grievances. And I like that line, and there was a unanimous sense in the House of Parliament and in the Senate that they were doing something good here.